So we'll get into it. If you're just joining in, welcome. In this next topic, we're going to talk about Tesla maintenance. We made a quick video yesterday about how Teslas have a lot less maintenance than others, and because Tesla posted a tweet about comparing gas vehicle maintenance versus Tesla, but it seems like a Tesla Model 3 last year actually reached 300,000 miles on their odometer, and they actually isolated all the different maintenance items that they paid for. And spoiler alert, it's not a lot at all. So we'll take a look at it. But if you're just joining in, my name is Dennis. I love talking about Tesla hacking, as I like to call it, but basically just getting the best thing on Tesla at the best financing rate. So definitely hit that subscribe if you're interested. And so let us take a look at this. If you missed this yesterday, here's a tweet from Tesla that basically compared the maintenance of Teslas, which is the short list on the right, versus a typical gasoline car, which is all these different stuff on the left. And that's one of the big major savings with an electric vehicle and Teslas. You don't have to pay for oil changes, fluid changes, transmission fluid changes, all that stuff. And it is a lot less cost for maintaining your Tesla versus gas vehicles, because you can see on the right side, it's windshield wiper fluid, of course, windshield wipers, which they missed from here, tire rotations, which we just talked about, and a cabin air filter. But the biggest thing with a Tesla that they're not putting on this list and any other EV is that you will spend more money on tires because of just the nature of how the acceleration is. If you get addicted to that instant acceleration all the time because of how zippy it is, then you will burn through more tires, and that is a fact. So they kind of missed that from this list. But here it is. This is the article. This is a 2018 Model 3 that passed the 300,000 mile mark. And if you're in other markets, that's 500 kilometers, which is a butt ton of miles. Here's what you need to know. So taking a look at this article, it seems like a Model 3 was able to pass that crazy mark, which if you think about it, they only bought it in 2018, so that's a good amount of miles at the end of the day. But here is some of the maintenance items or things that they had to fix at the end of the day. So looks like he only replaced the drivetrain oil pump at 286,000 miles, or $194. I don't know how realistic that is, because that seems way too cheap. But even if that's $1,000 at the end of the day to replace that, that's still relatively really good. That's like $200 a year for 5 years. $200 a year is like one oil change with any other luxury type of vehicle. But you can see 300 miles, they passed it using the original battery. And I think in here they also talked about original battery, original brakes, which is pretty incredible, because the brakes were able to, of course, last that long because of regenerative braking and anything like that. But the only thing they didn't put in here, I don't think, is tires. Of course, they had to have replaced tires going that many miles, because there's no way any set of tires would be able to last that long. Most tires, especially with a Model 3 with 18-inch rims being rotated every 6,000 miles, that could maybe last like 40 to 50,000 miles at the end of the day. But definitely some pretty interesting stuff, crazy stuff that a Tesla Model 3, it's good to see that Teslas, because they're such brand new cars, it's good to see that they were able to go that many miles, which is good for the rest of us, right? We can keep our Teslas and not necessarily have to worry about like batteries going out or anything like that. But the one thing I would love to see on this is what type of battery degradation. It says, according to the owner, the battery has lost around 20% of its original capacity, which is pretty good to go 300,000 miles and only lose 20%. But of course, 20%, 300 miles, that means that essentially that Model 3 can only go like 240 miles if it came out with that. So it sounds like a little bit, 20%, but that's also a lot of it, especially if you live in like any other area that's cold temperatures, that's really where you lose efficiency of the battery no matter what. So I mean, it's good to see that this Model 3 went 300,000 miles with low cost at the end of the day, and I guess it didn't really lose too much of the battery at the end of the day either. But definitely some pretty interesting stuff. We're going to jump into our next topic, but before we do that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link. Down below in the description is a Patreon link where you can support the channel, so definitely check it out if you're interested. But if you're just joining in, welcome. Thank you for